Welcome back. We're more now on those developments in Ekurhuleni today, where the Hawks raiding the homes, business addresses of a person linked to the alleged corruption at the Thembisa Hospital. Remember, 1 billion rand, some of it being spent on items like skinny jeans during the pandemic. News24 reporting that the home belongs to a senior leader in the ANC in Ekurhuleni. Jack Blum is the DA's health spokesperson in Gauteng. Jack, good afternoon to you. How do you react to all of this?
Well, it's welcome, and I hope they get to the bottom of this, because I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, and I believe that there's senior political people who've provided political protection over the years. You know, I've asked various questions in the Gauteng legislature, and it's far wider than just Thembisa Hospital, and it's been going on for a long time. It's a massive scam, and unfortunately, Babita Deokaran, the whistleblower, paid for her life with it. So I hope this is one step closer to finding the mastermind behind her murder and clearing up this whole massive corruption in all our hospitals in Gauteng.
The corruption, the alleged corruption that we've seen at Thembisa, and I suppose in other places, but let's just stay with the Thembisa Hospital for a moment. Do you think it could have happened without being linked to politics? Let me put the question to you in that way.
Well, absolutely. I think it happened with political protection. And we know that because the late Babita Deokaran actually tipped off allegedly tipped off the chief financial officer, who is now suspended and under investigation. But no investigation was done. And in fact, none of this would have come out if it wasn't for very brave journalists who went through correspondence and records and uncovered this all. So this would all been covered up. If it wasn't for the media, we'd would have heard nothing of this. And that, I think, is absolutely shameful. And I think it points to political protection at a very high level, corruption at the head office of the Gauteng Health Department. And let us not forget that the CEO of Thembisa Hospital is also suspended. And look, I think it's very fishy that disciplinary hearing against the chief financial officer and the CEO of Thembisa Hospital is taking so long. I think they're stalling things because maybe they're going to name names, because they could not have got away with this so long without very senior levels squashing any inquiries.
What impact do you think this corruption, alleged corruption, would have had on the treatment of patients at Thembisa Hospital? We understand 1 billion rand was spent on these companies. Now, there must have been some services provided in the end, but what impact do you think all of this has had on the treatment that patients actually received?
Well, Thembisa Hospital is notorious for patients sleeping on the floor and long waiting times and very poor treatment of hospitals. Obviously, if that money was properly spent, from what we hear, it's 5,000 rand for armchairs, and then there was the infamous skinny jeans that we heard about, and just absolutely wasteful misspending. Now, imagine if that money was properly directed to fixing up that hospital, providing proper services, and the fact that it's understaffed as well. So, as I said, I think this is happening at more than just Thembisa Hospital, and that if we spent our money properly, there'd be a decent health service for patients in Gauteng. But obviously, we haven't got to the root of these corruption networks. I have to say I'm disappointed that President Cyril Ramaphosa was supposed to sign an extension of the proclamation for the Hawks to continue their investigation. The SIU to consider to expand their investigation. So I am pleased that the Hawks are still on the ball. Hopefully something comes from this. Unfortunately, we've had too many cases where there's just endless investigation. Nobody gets charged. Nobody ends up in court, and the culprits ultimately get away. So hopefully there's consequences to this. They do their thorough job, and we see criminal charges laid. And I do hope that the President does extend the proclamation for the SIU so that we get to the root of all the problems in our Gauteng hospitals.
There's so much going on here. Some of it is around health, some of it is around corruption, and some of it is around politics. And the person who News24 is naming is likely to now face pressure to step aside from their position. Do you think there needs to be some kind of political pressure brought to bear here, even maybe from national government in some kind of way?
Well, we keep hearing that they're serious about cleaning up corruption, but we never see successful prosecutions. We never see these people ending up in court. We have the notorious case of Mr. Brian Hlongwa, who was the health MEC 14 years ago, and that case has just dragged on and on. So unless they release sufficient resources to the NPA and the Hawks and the SIU, and are serious about pursuing investigations, and we don't see any outcome. I think that they want to stall this until after the next elections, because I think this could really impact on the next elections, particularly if politically connected people are arrested, and maybe they point to higher up. But clearly this is very extensive, and the tentacles are vast. And I'd like the Hawks and the SIU and all the other law enforcement agencies to get to the bottom of it. But most of all, who murdered Babita Deokaran?
Jack, there's another story in all of this, and last week we were talking, of course, about the situation at the Rahima Musa Mother and Child Hospital, and we saw the Health Ombudsman report into that. This week, the doctor who wrote the letter that led to that investigation, Dr. Thembisa, published a piece. He said that it would be his only public response to everything that happened. He's been completely vindicated. But he also included in his piece, if I understood it correctly, that the Gauteng Health Department returned 200 million rand to the Treasury because it couldn't spend the money. And yet we know the department needs the money. Do you happen to know if that's true?
Yes, that is true. It was actually money for infrastructure, for fixing hospitals. You don't have to, be a genius to know that that money is desperately needed to fix our hospitals, including Rahima Musa Hospital. That's exactly what happened. They failed to spend 200 million rand of money that was earmarked to fix up our hospitals. Only half of our hospitals comply with the Occupational Health and Safety Act. None of them have a fire competency certificate. That's what I established from questions in the legislature. So the need is absolutely dire. You would think that every single penny would be spent properly fixing up our hospitals, filling all the staff vacancies, getting value for money for what is purchased. And we see just from the Thembisa Hospital alone, 1 billion rand over 3 years, really misspent. What about the other hospitals? I really think that this is much bigger than just one hospital, and that very good civil servants like Dr. Thembisa are being let down, because again there's recommendations to fix up Rahima Musa Hospital. Is that actually going to happen?
Jack Blom, thank you very much indeed, the DA Health spokesperson in Gauteng.